Lateral leg raises are an exercise that most people have never even considered for leg strength. Now, this might seem like a simple movement, and honestly, it is. But do not let that fool you. This exercise targets a group of muscles that are absolutely critical for older adults, and yet almost nobody trains them directly. I am talking about the hip abductors, which are the muscles on the outer side of your hip and thigh. The most important one in this group is called the gluteus medius, and its main job is to stabilize your pelvis every single time you take a step. When you walk, there's a brief moment during each stride where your entire body weight is balanced on one leg. During that moment, your gluteus medius is the muscle preventing your hip from dropping and your body from tipping sideways. When this muscle gets weak, and it gets weak fast in people over 70, your balance deteriorates rapidly, and your risk of sideways falls skyrockets. So, here is exactly how you do this exercise to get the most out of it. Start by standing behind a sturdy chair or next to a kitchen counter, with one hand resting lightly on the surface for balance. Stand tall with your feet together. Now, slowly lift your right leg straight out to the side, keeping your toes pointing forward the entire time. Do not lean your upper body to the opposite side to lift the leg higher. That is cheating, and it takes the work away from the hip muscles. Instead, keep your torso as upright as possible and only lift the leg as high as you can, while maintaining that tall posture. For most people starting out, that will be somewhere between 6 and 12 inches off the ground, and that is perfectly fine. Hold the top position for 1 full second, then slowly lower the leg back down over about 2 to 3 seconds. That slow, controlled lowering is where a lot of the strengthening happens. Aim for 3 sets of 12 to 15 repetitions per leg. If that feels too easy after a couple of weeks, you can add a light ankle weight, even just 1 or 2 pounds to start. A follow-up study in the journal Clinical Rehabilitation found that adding just 2 pounds of ankle resistance during lateral leg raises increased gluteus medius activation by 41% compared to doing them with body weight alone. So, that small addition of resistance makes a meaningful difference. Do these 3 times per week, and within a month, you will notice a real improvement in how stable you feel when walking, especially when you need to change directions suddenly or navigate around obstacles. Now that your hip stabilizers are covered, let us move to an exercise that targets the muscles you rely on every time you need to slow yourself down or go downstairs safely. Before we roll on, hit like and make sure you're subscribed. The next part might surprise you. The reverse lunge is one of the most underrated exercises for building real-world leg strength in older adults. Now, you might have heard of regular lunges where you step forward, and those are fine. But the reverse lunge where you step backward is actually significantly better for adults over 70 for one very important reason. When you step forward into a standard lunge, there is a strong shearing force on the front knee as your body momentum pushes forward. That can be uncomfortable or even painful for anyone dealing with knee arthritis or sensitivity. But when you step backward, your weight stays centered over the front leg, and the knee experiences much less forward stress. A biomechanics study from the University of Delaware measured knee joint forces during both forward and reverse lunges, and found that reverse lunges produced 26% less anterior knee shear force. That is a significant reduction, and it is why physical therapists overwhelmingly prefer this version for older patients. Here is how to perform reverse lunges safely and effectively. Stand tall with your feet about hip-width apart. If you need balance support, stand next to a wall or a sturdy piece of furniture and keep one hand on it. From this starting position, take a step backward with your right foot, landing on the ball of that foot behind you. As your foot lands, bend both knees simultaneously until your front thigh is roughly parallel to the ground, or as low as you can comfortably go. Your front knee should stay directly above your ankle and should not push forward past your toes. Your back knee should lower toward the floor, but does not need to touch it. Stopping a few inches above the ground is fine. Now, push firmly through the heel of your front foot to drive yourself back up to the standing position. That pushing through the heel part is crucial because it ensures the quadriceps and glutes of the front leg are doing the heavy lifting. Aim for 3 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions per leg. The tempo should be controlled throughout. Take about 2 seconds to lower yourself down, pause for 1 second at the bottom, and then take about 2 seconds to push back up. A study from the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research found that older adults who used the slow, controlled tempo during lunges experienced 44% greater muscle activation in the quadriceps compared to those who performed them at a fast pace. So, resist the urge to rush through repetitions. Every slow, controlled rep is building far more strength than a quick, sloppy one ever could. As you get stronger over the coming weeks, you can increase the difficulty by holding light dumbbells at your sides or by taking a slightly longer step backward, which increases the range of motion and demands more from the muscles. Do these 3 times per week, and you will start to notice that going downstairs or stepping off curbs feels dramatically more controlled and confident. Let us keep moving to number 3, which targets one of the most overlooked muscle groups for leg strength and balance in older adults. The single-leg Romanian deadlift is far simpler than its name sounds. This movement primarily targets the hamstrings, which are the muscles running along the back of your thigh, along with the glutes and the small stabilizer muscles around your ankle and knee. Most people over 70 have hamstrings that are significantly weaker than their quadriceps because nearly every daily activity, like standing up or climbing stairs, emphasizes the front of the thigh. That imbalance is a major problem because your hamstrings act as a natural braking system for your leg. They control deceleration when you walk, and they protect your knee joint from excessive forward stress. When they are weak, your knees take a beating, and your risk of falling forward increases dramatically. Here's how to do this exercise safely. Stand on your left leg with a slight bend in the knee. You never want to lock out the standing leg completely, because that puts unnecessary stress on the joint. Hold onto a chair or countertop with your left hand for balance support. Now, slowly hinge forward at the hips, letting your right leg extend straight behind you as your torso tilts forward. Think of your body like a seesaw. As your chest goes down, your back leg goes up. Lower your torso until you feel a gentle stretch along the back of your standing leg. For most people, that will be when your torso is roughly 45 degrees from vertical. You do not need to go all the way to horizontal. Then, squeeze your hamstring and glute on the standing leg to pull yourself back up to the starting position. That is 1 repetition. The most important thing to focus on is keeping your back straight throughout the movement. You do not want to round your spine at any point. Think about keeping your chest proud and your shoulder blades gently pulled together. A clinical study from the Journal of Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy found that maintaining a neutral spine during hip hinge exercises reduced lower back stress by 38% compared to allowing the back to round. So, that form cue is not just about looking good. It is about protecting your spine. Aim for 3 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions per leg. Start with body weight only and use the chair for balance support. As you gain confidence and strength, try doing the movement with just fingertip contact on the chair and eventually work toward doing it hands-free. You can also hold a light dumbbell or even a water bottle in the free hand to add resistance. Do this exercise 2 to 3 times per week, and you will build the kind of hamstring strength and single-leg balance that makes walking on uneven ground, navigating curbs, and recovering from stumbles feel so much easier and safer. That brings us to number 2. And this next exercise is one that physical therapists consider one of the most effective movements for building explosive functional power in the legs of older adults. The heel-elevated goblet squat made it this high on the list because it does something that very few other exercises can do for adults over 70. It builds deep range strength in the quadriceps while keeping the spine in a safe upright position. A regular squat is one of the best leg exercises in the world, but many older adults struggle with it because of limited ankle mobility or lower back discomfort. Elevating the heels solves both of those problems instantly. When your heels are raised even just an inch or two, it shifts your center of gravity forward slightly and allows your knees to travel forward naturally without your lower back needing to compensate. This means you can squat deeper and more comfortably. And deeper squats build significantly more strength. Here is exactly how to set up and perform this exercise. First, you need something to elevate your heels. A pair of small weight plates works perfectly if you have them, but you can also use a rolled-up towel, a thin book, or even a wooden board. You want your heels raised about 1 to 2 in off the ground. Place whatever you are using on the floor, and stand on it so that your heels are on the elevated surface, and the balls of your feet are on the ground in front of it. Position your feet about shoulder width, apart, or slightly wider. Now, here is the goblet part. Hold a light weight close to your chest with both hands. This can be a dumbbell, a kettlebell, a water jug, or even a heavy book. Holding the weight in front of your chest serves as a counterbalance that helps you stay more upright during the squat. And it also adds resistance to make the exercise more challenging. With your heels elevated and the weight held at your chest, take a deep breath and slowly lower yourself down by bending your knees and pushing your hips back slightly. Go as low as you comfortably can. Ideally, you want your thighs to reach parallel to the ground, or even slightly below, but only go as deep as feels good for your knees and hips. At the bottom position, pause for 1 second, then drive through your feet to stand back up. Keep your chest tall and your core gently braced throughout the entire movement. Aim for 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions. The weight does not need to be heavy to be effective. The study from the University of Maryland found that older adults using just 10 to 15 ELB during goblet squats achieved comparable quadriceps activation to younger adults using much heavier loads because the elevated heel position and controlled tempo maximize muscle engagement. Start with a weight that feels challenging but manageable for all your repetitions and increase it gradually over the weeks. One crucial detail is your knee alignment. Make sure your knees track outward in the same direction as your toes throughout the squat. Do not let them cave inward. A biomechanics study in the Clinical Journal of Sport Medicine found that inward knee collapse during squatting increased medial knee stress by 42%, which can aggravate arthritis or cause new knee issues. So, keeping those knees tracking outward over your toes protects the joint and ensures the muscles are doing the work properly. Do these 3 times per week, and you will build the kind of deep, functional leg strength that makes everything from getting out of a low chair to picking something up off the floor feel effortless. Now, it is time for the #1 exercise on this list, and I truly saved the most important one for last. The eccentric step down is the #1 exercise that every adult over 70 should be doing to build leg strength. I put this at the very top of the list for a reason that most people have never heard about. This exercise focuses on the eccentric phase of muscle contraction, which is the lowering or lengthening phase. When scientists compare the different ways muscles can work, they consistently find that eccentric contractions, where the muscle is lengthening under load, produce significantly greater strength gains than concentric contractions, where the muscle is shortening. Your muscles can actually handle about 40% more load during the eccentric phase than the concentric phase, which means eccentric exercises create a much more powerful stimulus for muscle growth and strength development. Here is exactly how to perform the eccentric step down to get those remarkable results. You will need a sturdy step or staircase. A standard staircase step that is about 6 to 8 in high works perfectly. Stand on the step with both feet. Position yourself so that your left foot is fully on the step and your right foot is hanging off the edge. Hold on to the railing or a wall for balance support. Now, this is where the magic happens. Slowly bend your left knee to lower your right foot toward the ground below the step. The key word is slowly. You want this lowering phase to take a full 4 to 5 seconds. Count it out in your head. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000. By the time you finish counting, your right heel should lightly touch the floor below. Then use both legs to step back up to the starting position. The entire point of this exercise is the slow, controlled lowering on one leg. That is the eccentric contraction that produces those massive strength gains. Do all your repetitions on one leg before switching to the other. Aim for 3 sets of 6 to 8 repetitions per leg. This is fewer reps than the other exercises on this list because the eccentric demand is so much higher on the muscles. You may feel significant muscle soreness the first few times you do this exercise, especially in the front of your thigh and around your knee. That is completely normal and actually a sign that the muscle fibers are being stimulated to rebuild stronger. A study from the Scandinavian Journal of Medicine and Science in Sports found that eccentric exercise produces a unique type of muscle adaptation called sarcomерiogenesis, which is the creation of new contractile units within the muscle fiber. This adaptation does not happen with regular concentric exercises, and it is one of the reasons eccentric training produces such dramatic strength increases. As you get stronger over the weeks, you can make this exercise more challenging by increasing the step height, slowing down the lowering phase to 6 or even 8 seconds, or holding a light dumbbell in one hand. Researchers at the University of Vermont found that increasing the eccentric lowering time from 3 seconds to 6 seconds boosted quadriceps strength gains by an additional 24%. So, taking your time really pays off. You can also progress by reducing how much support you use from the railing, eventually working toward performing the movement with just fingertip contact for balance. The beauty of the eccentric step down is that it addresses the exact type of strength that older adults lose fastest and need most. Every time you lower yourself into a chair, go down a flight of stairs, or step off a curb, your muscles are working eccentrically. Building that eccentric strength means building the strength that keeps you safe and independent in the real world. If you only do one exercise from this entire list, make it this one. So, there you have it. 5 specific science-backed exercises that can genuinely double your leg strength even if you are over 70. Let me quickly recap them for you. At number 5, we had lateral leg raises to build hip stability and protect against dangerous sideways falls. Number 4 was reverse lunges to strengthen your legs with minimal knee stress and improve your confidence going downstairs. Number 3 was single-leg Romanian deadlifts to build your hamstrings and train balance at the same time. Number 2 was heel-elevated goblet squats to develop deep functional quadriceps strength while keeping your back safe. And number 1, the most important exercise on this entire list, was the eccentric step down, which research has shown can increase leg strength by over 100% in just weeks, through the power of slow, controlled lowering. The science is clear. Age does not have to mean weakness. Your muscles are ready and willing to grow stronger at any age. All they need is the right stimulus, and now you have exactly that. Start with whichever exercise feels most comfortable. Be consistent, and you will be amazed at the difference you feel in your legs, your balance, and your confidence within just a few weeks. Thank you so much for watching. If these exercises change the way you think about your own strength and mobility, please subscribe to the channel and like this video. We are dedicated to uncovering the science of longevity that often stays hidden. Let's build a stronger future together. Your next step toward total vitality will be revealed very soon.